It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Dallas, Texas. And it's 7 p.m. in Philadelphia. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to a Monday night. And you got the Mad Dog, the Pit Bull, and Big Cow. This is America's Podcast. What's the buzz? Tonight, oh boy, are we going down a rabbit hole. Who killed Isaac Kappy? The question you ask, who is Isaac Kappy? Well, if you're a viewer of television and film, you might know who Isaac Kappy is from his many appearances on television, film, and even a game show or two. Who was Isaac Kappy? We asked the question tonight. He is no longer with us. Who killed Isaac Kappy? This show was brought to us by our very own Big Cal Yater. And so let me bring up on the big screen, Cal. You brought this topic to us tonight. Isaac Kappy, the mysterious death of Isaac Kappy, suicide or murder. And we're going to have some compelling video to show tonight, Cal. So why don't I just ask you, before we're not going to waste any time. We're going to get right into this because this is a long show tonight. We're going to be here for a little bit. Who was Isaac Kappy? Tell everybody who he is or who he was. Rest in peace. And why what he said provoked the ire of some very important and powerful people. Have at it.
Well, Isaac Kappy, he was, I wouldn't call him a B-lister, not an A-lister, not a B-lister. Like, he was just getting his foot into the industry. Like, he got himself a small role in a Terminator Salvation. He got himself into a couple roles with working with Seth Green. He wasn't really a big actor, but the thing is like he was in the industry long enough to see what was going on in the background and started opening his mouth about some big names.
Is it fair to say, Cal, that he was just starting to make his name?
Oh yeah, like he wasn't a household name. Not everybody knew who he was.
But he was starting to make a little bit of noise, though, right?
A little bit, like he was just getting into it.
Well, at some point, he said something that made a lot of noise. Why don't you tell everybody what I'm talking about?
Well, he started naming names, like, specifically stating that his friend Seth Green was a pedophile, and he apologized to Green, but he said he was still going to expose him for what he was doing, but he didn't want, to hurt anybody in the process. This
is his friend. I got to ask you to back up for just a hair. This is his friend. He called him his friend. My friend Seth Green.
He considered Seth Green a close friend at the time, and after he started getting his foot a little more into it,
right,
something snapped. And he threw Seth Green under the bus.
You said something critical right there. Right there. He snapped. And that, I believe, and Amelia, as we go through tonight, I think you'll find out that what Cal just spoke is the critical truth of why this man, Isaac Kappy, who could have been a star,
absolutely,
because he wasn't a bad actor at all. I think you're going to find out why he was taken out, and I believe he was taken out. So let me ask you this, Cal. Now I know who Seth Green is. He does not appear to me, and I don't know the guy at all. And I know we know a lot of people on this show, but I don't know Seth Green. I'll just, in full disclosure, I'll just tell you that I don't know him. Never met the man. He's a hell of an actor. He's a very good actor. But he does not appear to me to be a guy that's vindictive in any way. He does not appear to me to be a guy that overtly gets angry. He kind of takes things in stride. And I can see him just kind of blowing this off Oh, this is my friend Seth. He's not all there right now, and just kind of like whitewashing it under the rug, as it were. But at some point, he said something that really struck a chord with the essence of Hollywood, particular people, like naming Tom Hanks and super director Steven Spielberg as active pedophiles. And you're going to hear him on film tonight say Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Steven Spielberg is a pedophile. You're going to hear that from Isaac Kappy. So how did I need to know a little bit of background here. How did the story come to your attention? Who brought it to you?
The story came to my attention practically as soon as it happened, like right around 2018, 2019.
Right.
I was watching some videos on band.video, which, they have a lot of videos that you won't find on YouTube. But there was a guy that did a whole story on, I think his name was Mouthy Buddha, but he did a whole story on the Tom Hanks, Isaac Kappy correlation.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I have that video, and I was actually going to play some of it tonight. Problem is, I ran into a copyright issue. So I'm not going to show that, but there are plenty of videos you're going to see tonight. So continue, Cal. I'm sorry about that interruption.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But either which way, he came out with that video, and that's when I learned about, really how he described Tom Hanks as being a person who just really has a weird obsession with white glove crimes, people going missing, It is when I realized Tom Hanks was a total weirdo.
He's a very bizarre guy. I will tell you that. He's a very strange guy. What makes him a great actor is his eccentricity, his idiosyncrasies. We talked about this before. One of my favorite actors is Alec Baldwin, but Alec Baldwin doesn't know who Alec Baldwin is. He only knows who he is if he's playing somebody else, like a lot of actors.
Yeah.
Isaac Kappy didn't seem to have that problem. But Tom Hanks certainly does. And you can watch his films and watch not only his films, but watch the roles that he chooses. 3 of his biggest grossing films, aside from the Da Vinci Code, 3 of his biggest grossing films, the co-star was a child.
Yes.
Big, Missing, and News of the World. Okay?
What about the Burbs with young Corey Feldman?
There you go. Absolutely. But again, like I said, his 3 biggest grossing films.
Mm-hmm.
The Burbs made some money, but it wasn't a super grosser. Good movie, absolutely good movie. His highest grossing film was Big, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Big, which he co-starred with a little boy the whole film. Isaac Kappy, for those of you who don't know, was an aspiring actor starting to make a name for himself. Isaac Kappy died in 2019 after allegedly or purportedly falling from a bridge in Arizona. Officially ruled a suicide, however. His prior public claims about Hollywood elites, fueled widespread speculation that he may have been murdered. And it's awful hard to commit suicide when you're bound at the hands and feet. How do you do that? That's like the guy who was shot in the back of the head twice in jail, and they ruled it a suicide. We're not even making this up, because Amelia and I covered the story on this show about 2 years ago. Happened in Texas, by the way. Fort Worth, Texas. I'm sorry, not Fort Worth. Port Arthur, Texas, where Janis Joplin's from.
So this guy that got shot twice in the head lived?
No, he died.
They said he committed suicide, but it wasn't suicide the way the gunshots looked.
They said he killed himself. He shot himself twice in the back of the head. How do you do that? How do you shoot yourself twice in the back of the head? First of all, the first one would have killed you. Okay? But then you didn't do it right, so you go back and shoot yourself again?
Right.
I don't think so, folks.
I mean, the first time would probably hurt pretty bad.
Call me crazy. Before his death, Isaac Kappy posted videos alleging misconduct involving powerful figures. We talked about those figures tonight. The two most powerful named were Steven Spielberg, super director Steven Spielberg, and Academy Award winner 20 times already, however many Oscars he's got, Tom Hanks. So prior to his death, Kappy posted videos alleging misconduct by these people. These statements led some to question whether his death was truly self-inflicted. Authorities concluded that Kappy jumped from the bridge without foul play. Again, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, he was bound at the hands and feet. Behind his back, his hands were bound. His feet were tied together. I want to know how you jump off of a 5.5, 6 foot overpass. You got to clear. He must have been a hell of a pole vault jumper, Isaac Kappy, because you had to jump up. Oh, you had to clear a 6 foot fence. Oh, by the way, did we mention that there were barbed wires at the top of the fence? So you had to clear it and not get tangled up in the barb. So, again, despite this, conspiracy theories continue to circulate across social media platforms. Imagine this. And we're going to talk about all this. In his final messages, which you will see tonight from Isaac Kappy himself, Kappy expressed regret and apologized to several individuals. You will hear some of that. Because of the length of almost 11 hours, 10 hours and 44 minutes of video. You will not obviously see 10 hours worth of video, then I will be here till tomorrow morning.
Right.
Amelia's got to go work in the morning.
I got to get some sleep.
Right? And so, needless to say, we have key video where you will hear Isaac Kappy himself talk about powerful people. You're going to hear him say several times, it's bad. Oh, it's so bad. And you're going to hear him say those words verbatim. Some interpret these posts as evidence of distress, while others see them as suspicious. Now, the death of Isaac Kappy remains a topic of debate among online communities. Proof positive, folks. We're doing a show on him tonight. Official findings contrast sharply with alternative theories promoted by his followers, some even calling him a guru. You're going to hear that tonight. And not all of them calling him a guru in a very positive way, I assure you. So, was it murder, suicide? Did he decide to take himself out of the equation? Or did someone do the deed for him? Strong evidence, strong evidence, folks, that he may have had the job done on his behalf. Let's put it that way. But I will tell you, we're not going to make any assertions or assumptions until we've seen some evidence first. So, Cal, you've given us a pretty good ground I guess a ground assault. We'll say that a ground assault on Isaac Kappy. So who was Isaac Kappy really? Isaac Kappy was an American actor, burgeoning actor, by the way, just getting his feet wet, with small supporting roles in films like Thor, Terminator Salvation, TV shows like Breaking Bad, among others. Let's see, Vanderpump Rules. He was a part of that for a very short, brief moment. But you get where we're going with this. We're telling you some of his credits because they were small but supporting roles, and those small roles, if you're good enough, often lead to bigger roles. Two things happen, folks, in Hollywood, and I can tell you because I know people that were there and are there. If you keep your eyes open and your mouth shut, do what you're told, and don't cause any shit, you got a pretty good chance of becoming fairly well known. But apparently Isaac Kappy had a problem doing both of the above, keeping his eyes focused and his mouth shut. Understand that Hollywood, and we know this to be true. I'm not telling tales out of school. Hollywood is a pedophile's wet dream. I'm going to give you some numbers. These are true numbers. You can, as I always tell you, folks, as I always tell you, if you think I'm making any of this up, please do your own research. Check it out.
Absolutely.
Here are the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. 100,000 young girls under the age of 21. Under the age of 21 arrive in Hollywood every week. Okay? 100,000 a week.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? They go there seeking stardom. They go there seeking fame and fortune. Okay? Many of them end up runaways. Many of them end up destitute. Many of them end up coming home on the same bus that dropped them off. If they're lucky, they come home. Most of them never come home. More people go missing in Los Angeles every year than any other. Listen to this, folks. Check it out if you think I'm making it up. More people go missing in Los Angeles, California every year than any other single place on planet Earth. On planet Earth. You hear that, Cal?
In Los Angeles, just by itself.
Just LA by itself. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. So, Cal, with that information given to you, that 100,000 young girls under the age of 21 arrive, and most never go home. Where are these girls ending up? Oh, by the way, it's not limited to just girls, by the way. But that's how many young girls arrive.
Mm-hmm.
They're ending up
with boys between 18 and 30. It's not say boys, but boys and young men between 18 and 30. 60% of them go missing. The boys have the advantage. They're able to fight their way. They're able to find work. Fortunately, other than the porn industry, prostitution, or working for some high-powered pimp in LA, those girls are there basically at the mercy of the streets. So, Cal, talk to me about what you think happened on that final day, because we know more about Isaac Kappy's final day than we do about all the 31 years or 30 plus years before that. We know more about the day he died than we do about the 30 years that he lived.
Well, he was Well, he was posting videos over his Twitter feed, and he was getting more and more nervous, talking about, strange vehicles riding by his home. You know, yeah, he started to really feel for his safety, and I guess that also made him. I don't know. He just seemed like he may have cracked just a little bit. You know.
He was a target for
I was just
Hollywood.
about to ask him, I
Mhm.
was just about to ask you, how much do you think he targeted himself?
All the time, every time he posted something on social media, or even when he spoke out loud, or even accused somebody to their face, that's a target on your back.
What's the first rule of social media?
You shouldn't
Lay
speak.
low.
Exactly. Don't
Lay
speak.
low. Keep a low profile.
Mhm. Just post about your
That's
career,
the
where you're going to
first
be at.
rule.
That's it.
Especially if you're in the business,
Yeah.
unless your profile is like Tom Hanks
Right.
and Alec Baldwin and Steven Spielberg and people like that, like Ian McKellen.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you've got a super high profile, your best bet is to lay low, keep your fucking mouth shut.
Yes.
Cal,
Yes,
stay
sir.
with me, Cal. You're going to have to. I know it's hard for you to focus, but you're going to have to stay with me here, because I'm going to come to you here. We're going to talk about the Tom Hanks warning, because you know a little bit about this. So talk to me about how many times was he advised to to stay away from the pedophile topic?
Oh man, it had to be like a good 20 or 30 times.
At
Like
least, right? Yeah, he's
yeah, they
not
gave
lying,
him
folks.
they gave him plenty of leeway because they didn't want to have to off him.
Well, and you said something important that I'm going to validate. I'll get it right, folks. That I'm going to validate right now. What Cal just said is proof positive of what happened. Okay, here's what happened in the Tom Hanks case. At least they estimate between 25 and 30 written warnings that they can document, between 25 and 30 that they can document. They don't know how many Kappy destroyed, but there were at least 30 that he kept. Another major focus was the severity with which he was really hammering at Tom Hanks and Spielberg. Those two particularly. I don't know if he had it in for Tom Hanks. I don't know if he auditioned for Steven Spielberg and he didn't get a job. Maybe this is sour grapes. Cal, you're an actor. You know the acting business is funny about that. But here's what they say. Some conspiracists point to cryptic Instagram messages from Tom Hanks himself around the time of Kappy's death. Photos, gloves, a roadkill, random objects, white gloves, blood spatter. And they often interpret these cryptic symbologies as coded messages or warnings to Kappy to A, back off, shut up, remain silent if you want to work in this town, and if you come at me, I'm going to come at you. And he was all but told, if you come this way, I'm going to meet you face to face. Do you think, either of you, do you think that actually happened?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Under what? Go ahead, Amelia.
If somebody like that's going to come at you, you're going to want to do everything you can to stop them. If not, Tom say, okay, I'm going to blackball you from Hollywood if you continue doing this. But they still didn't. They still, for some reason, he was able to continue accusing people. And the more you do that, the more your life is going to be in danger.
Amelia, let me ask you a question about this, because it seems like these days you can't mention pedophilia and Hollywood and missing and exploited children
Right.
without talking about two things: Jeffrey Epstein and QAnon.
Exactly.
What about Wayfair?
And don't forget
We're going to get to
Pizzagate.
the Wayfair, because that is actually we can do a whole show on Wayfair, but we really could too. So go ahead, Amelia. What your and by the way, you too, Cal, jump in wherever you feel necessary. What of the and QAnon is a very powerful movement.
It is.
But we haven't heard the end of Jeffrey Epstein yet. And by the way, just for the record, I believe that I can prove that Jeffrey Epstein is alive and well. But that's a whole nother show. So let's just assume, just for argument's sake, just for shits and giggles, let's just assume Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Okay? And that he's not driving around as, Palm Beach Pete. Okay? So, by the way, the guy looks just fucking like him too. Scary, man. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I reached out. I'm trying to get him on the show, and I think he's going to say yes. So, Amelia, let me go to you first, and then I'll jump and then throw it to Cal.
Okay.
Tie in the Q angle and Epstein. How does this all fit in your? Because you read the research.
Yeah,
you read the case file.
Well, also it's going to have to do with a lot of cannibalism, basically, that they are accusing a lot of them of, and molesting young children, boys and girls included. And also, it's a global thing. It's not just in his island. It's all over the world, basically. And sex trafficking ring as well.
Yeah.
And they also talk about Pizzagate a lot.
Amelia, what she's telling you is absolutely true, because Amelia and I, before Cal got here and joined us, Amelia and I had our show pulled from YouTube.
We did.
By YouTube, because we named names, and I showed videos of Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Joe Biden with
Clinton.
Little children. Showed them.
Yeah.
The video was done in Africa. Why Africa? It's the only country that the United States does not have an extradition treaty with. You can
I thought we didn't have one with Greece.
Oh, we absolutely do.
Yeah, it's South Africa is the one that we don't, because they do anything there.
Yep. You ask me about the law, Cal. I know the law, bro, and I know all this. I know the ins and outs of the extradition, the NATO Accord. I know all about the neutrality of Denmark and Sweden. Absolutely. So yeah, when you talk about this subject matter, we're on it. The other thing I want to talk about, and it's important to understand this. It's important to understand this when we're talking about pedophilia. We're not just talking about little children. We're talking about anyone under the age of 18.
Correct.
Okay. Now, and I hate to go there, folks, but I'm going to have to, in full disclosure. Some of these older kids, 16, 17, 18, they enter into these agreements voluntarily because they get paid. They're making money out of being sex slaves. The younger kids don't know what's coming or going. They just know that they're being tossed to and fro, and eventually they end up dead or on somebody's dinner table. I hate to be disgusting.
No, that's the truth. You're telling the truth.
It's the truth. We talked about, we showed it on the show.
We did. We showed about them eating
kids. Us down.
And babies.
It's not comfortable subject matter, but it has to be discussed.
They tried to shut us down 7 times.
7 times, yeah.
7 times on YouTube. They pulled our shows. Well, guess what? Those shows are still up on YouTube.
Yeah.
And Odyssey, because the First Amendment will always rule out. Always.
Yeah. And a lot of the thing that Mad Dog does his research, and a lot of the videos may come from YouTube, and that's where we got the videos, was YouTube. And they still try to shut us down 7 times.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give a perfect example. The show we're going to do, Charlie Kirk. I showed the Charlie Kirk assassination video.
Yes.
YouTube pulled it. Guess where I got it from?
YouTube. Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to pull down a show that I got from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Perfect fucking sense. So Cal, okay, jump in here, Cal, because I see you're chomping at the bit. You want to get in on the Epstein angle, the Q angle, and then I want you to explain to everybody what you and I already know about Wayfair. But go ahead and take your time. This is a show that you brought to us. So you're it, kid. So go for it.
All right. Well, the QAnon thing, honestly, I never really took Q too seriously, because well, I mean,
and you're not the first person that said that either.
Well, I mean, look, you know my political affiliation, all right, but QAnon just seemed like it was some kind of made up boogeyman for, I'm gonna call them the alt left, to use so they can, whatever bullshit they decided to spew, they can use QAnon as like a backup.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's plausible. That's
or
plausible.
as a cover, yeah.
Yeah, and
what about the clear, or maybe not so clear in some case, I'll say it this way, Cal. I'll ask it this way to you. What about the ubiquitous Jeffrey Epstein angle? Where's Jeffrey in all this? Hey, Ruffian's with us. Hey, Ruff.
Hey, what's up, Ruffian?
Hey,
well, Epstein definitely. I mean, the dead man switch when Isaac Kappy got offed. I mean, I'm pretty sure Epstein didn't like that. Because that just showed some of his clientele, or the girls that they were had trafficked to the island, and they were. I mean, this obviously wasn't filmed on the island. It was a resort in Turkey. I actually looked into it.
Yeah.
But the CEO of that resort, I had his name earlier, but it was like some Pakistani name I couldn't pronounce. But he was the CEO of there, and he actually at one time denied allegation of hosting underage sex parties.
It's interesting that you mentioned Turkey. Tom Hanks's wife, Rita Wilson, her nationality is Turk. She's a Turk by birth. Okay. The other interesting thing about the Turkish angle is the Turkish government seized all of Tom Hanks's property on the island of Crete, which is a Turkish territory. And then when I say they seized it, they took it lock, stock, and barrel. And I don't know how much it cost him to kibosh it, but he's not allowed in Turkey anymore.
Wow.
He's not allowed in the country anymore. In fact, Tom Hanks is not allowed to leave the United States, if you want to know the truth. Okay? He's under a house arrest in the U.S. He can't,
like Hollywood
he can
arrest.
he can travel throughout the country, but he can't leave the country.
Wow.
I think my information might have been incorrect, because last time I checked, him and his family moved to Greece, and I was also told that Greece had no extradition clause with the United States. So I thought he was on the run.
Oh, no.
That's what it sounded like, right?
Yeah.
Somebody like that moving that far would be on the run.
I'll bet you $1,000. Here's the thing. It's important to understand this too. It's really important because what we're talking about is the bigger picture here is that a high powered, high profile celebrity may very well be involved in some very highly questionable activity involving minor youth, girls and boys, by the way. And the truth is that we have heard, and I'm not telling tales out of the school, it's out. You guys want to see it, it's on the internet, it's out there, that Tom Hanks doesn't particularly care if it's a boy or a girl.
Adrenochrome's adrenochrome.
Well, there you go. Well, this is what we're talking about. Essentially, we're talking about sexual satisfaction, but it's more than sexual. It's power satisfaction, and people don't understand. Sex, in it of itself, isn't an overtly bad thing. But here's the bad part: the power that comes with sex, especially if you're the one holding the power. That makes people like Isaac Kappy very uncomfortable. And people like Isaac Kappy, who actually had a conscience, though his problem was he did not know how to express his conscience. Because what he sounded like when he died was an absolute raving lunatic. We are going to right now, because we talked about these videos, and we are now going to see these videos. And I want you all to understand that there are disclaimers on both videos. I usually would issue one disclaimer for the show. These are highly, highly inflammatory. Viewer discretion is absolutely critical. Watch this. The following program is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Is a pedophile. Oh, I'm not going to talk about Tom Hanks either, who is also a pedophile. There's this girl, Sarah Ruth Ashcraft, on Twitter, who has been accusing Tom Hanks of raping her when she was 13. Her dad sold her to Tom Hanks. This is so rampant. It is so bad. But watch for the symbolism, because these people out themselves with the symbols. The very top levels, these people are just sick and psycho. Look into the Rothschild family. You heard it's cannibals. Yeah, there is cannibalism. The higher you go, the more sick it gets. A lot of people are kind of born into this. They grow up in it. They're abused. And through the abuse, especially as a child, you can break someone's subconscious mind. Look into MK Ultra. It's music. It's film. It's art. Look into Marina Abramovich. Is Oprah a pedophile? Well, let's see. Hanks, Weinstein, I mean, the company she keeps, as rich as she is, I have a feeling she is very high up in the cult. And this, make no mistake, this is a cult. There is a widespread cult that is worldwide, and it's fucking Spielberg.
Okay. Amelia, you alluded to it. Isaac Kappy just confirmed it to it. Cannibalism.
Yes.
High up, including people like the Rothschilds. The Weinsteins, Bob and Harvey Weinstein, former heads of Paramount Pictures, former heads of Weinstein Films, Inc., LLC. We're talking about, very high up the food chain. Very, very high up the food chain. Cal, when you hear this, does Isaac Kappy in that clip sound sane and of solid mind?
No, he's rambling. I mean, he's probably been trying to get the message out for a while, and nobody was taking him seriously. They tried to make him out like he was the bad guy, all over the media, claiming that he was like some D-list, has-been actor. Like, they went after his credibility the moment he opened his mouth.
Did they? If he had, I'm going to tell you what, Amelia, honest to God, if he had any credibility to start with,
Right.
By the time they were done, like Cal said, they went if they shredded whatever
Absolutely.
credibility he had, if he had any to start with.
Mhm.
You're going to see, this is important, folks, because the video you're going to see, we narrowed it down to about an hour and 18 minutes prior to the body of Isaac Kappy being found. So what we're saying to you is, this is the very last piece of film that Isaac Kappy ever recorded. He is clearly, very clearly, not alone in his apartment.
Before you play this clip, is this
Yeah.
the same one that has the chat log?
No, he just played that one.
I don't know, because there were, like I said, I had almost 11 hours of film to go through, and I grabbed like 4 minutes, which was all we could use, because honest to God, Cal, he was rambling so incessantly, just rambling and repeating himself over and over. It was like, man, I'm getting tired of hearing the same shit, because he's just saying the same stuff. Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. You guys don't know, it's so bad. You heard what he said in that clip.
Mhm.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
He does say that a lot.
Please tell me if I'm lying.
No.
And I'm not lying.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked that because in the clip I'm talking about, where it actually has the chat log, somebody asked him if he's doing this under duress. Blink twice.
I think, you know what? I think you're going to hear that. I think you're going to hear that. Why don't we just do this again? This is Isaac Kappy, a mere less than 2 hours before he was found dead. So this is quite important. And remember, they found him bound and tied at the feet and hands behind his back, but yet it was ruled a suicide. Okay? Remember the guy in Texas that shot himself in the back of the head twice, but he's committed suicide. Okay. Again, here we go. The following video appears to show a disoriented and rambling Isaac Kappy on the day he was found dead under an Arizona overpass, bound and tied. His death was ruled a suicide.
They're talking about me. We have a cult leader, a guy who collected data from molested individuals, a con artist claiming he is from another planet, and a stolen valor bitch, all claiming to be spokespeople of the Q movement. So it's representative of the stupidity presented through that. I want to know why Kappy, a guy who claims some seriously shady things, such as being at that party and him having sleepovers with kids, collected data from victims and what he did with it. Whoa, boy. What's up, Tracy? I guess we'll have to address those each. A cult leader. Who's my cult? I tell people to research and think for themselves. In the very beginning, when I came out, I said, don't make this about me. Decentralize. All right? That is the exact opposite of a cult leader. A cult leader wants to grab they want to grab everything in. Okay. A guy who collected data from individuals. Great. A lot of people reached out to me. People are forgetting survivor stories. Do you remember that? Survivor stories from last summer when all those people uploaded videos about their experiences? That was me. I said, let's do survivor stories. That was me. So all these people came out. Other people, by the way, so many people reached out to me. And it wasn't like a one-size-fit-all thing. There were some information about active rings that got diverted to the proper authorities. there were some people with high profile cases that I was like, here's the deal. It's going to be crazy. And it's not a one size fits all. Some of those people I said, go just get an attorney. Like, just, if you come out now, it'll be crazy. Other people, a lot of people reached out with good intel about famous people. And then I used it to go at those famous people. Stephen King, Tom Cruise, Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg. All of that information was info I got, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I already got the heat on me, but I'll go after him. I'll go after him for you. Did I vet those people?
He mentioned Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg. What name did he not say?
He hasn't said Tom Hanks yet.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And you will not hear that out of his mouth. You won't hear the name Tom Hanks come out of his mouth. Watch this.
Yeah, I did. Did I just blindly run with anything? No, I didn't. Yeah, there were active rings that that information got to the appropriate people. I'm like, hey, it's a book about Q. Should more people know about Q? Yeah, why not? That seems like a good idea. And now they're like, oh, this is horrible. Page shills. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm sure there's some page shills. I think, though, there are also legitimately people who are like, fuck Kappy. Because, you know, there have been a lot of people that have published a lot of lies, slanders, shitty information about me. So, it makes a difference, guys.
Do you see, forget about what he's saying. Do you see what he's doing? Do you guys know anything about nervous reaction? Do you see what he's doing?
And then he's moving around like he's trying to hide somebody behind him or trying to show.
That you said it. You said exactly what I wanted you to say.
What
he's
about
moving around a lot? Go ahead, Cal.
What about his like constant use of like he has to think about what he's saying, like he's trying to remember.
And somebody who somebody who was so quick on the draw in the first video, all of a sudden now he's got to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because there's somebody there that he doesn't want to open up in front of. That's why. There's somebody there with him.
Yeah, he's tiptoeing around it.
Yeah.
Oh, tiptoeing. Are you kidding? It's like, what? This poor bastard is walking through a minefield, and he knows it. You can tell by two things that he's doing. He's grasping to say what he wants to say, and he's got this nervous laughter that he throws in there a lot. You're going to hear it. Watch. Just again, just keep in mind while you're watching this at home, keep in mind the context of this video.
It's hurtful when people are always trying to literally destroy you. It ruins your ability to do a lot of stuff. And, you get a bunch of people who probably, I don't think all of them are shills, but, you get people who are probably have the same overarching goals as you, but then they're like, whoa. Am I on house arrest? No, I'm not on house arrest. I'm not on house arrest. I don't get out of the house much for a few reasons, but no, I'm not on house arrest. Not even a little bit. How do I support myself? Not too well lately. Not that well. As you can imagine, Hollywood isn't banging down my door to give me gigs anymore.
Yeah, that's a guy that's under a lot of stress. So, Cal, since you're the one that brought this show to us, I'm going to let you be the one to take us out of here. So let's capsulize Isaac Kappy. Let's do the first video. What did you notice in the first video? Tell me what stands out as critical in the first video.
He was absolutely calm, absolutely collective. He knew his information. He wasn't as much of a noticeable nervous wreck. You know, yeah, like he went through some shit, you know.
Amelia, what did you notice about the second video?
He was like rambling, going a lot, not knowing what to say. He was moving around too much, and his facial expressions kept changing. And then a lot of the words that he repeated made me want to think that he's probably sending a message to someone.
He was terrified.
Yeah.
El Ruffian brought up something that I was just going to talk about. His eyebrows are saying a lot. He was trying to speak with his eyes. His eyes were going wide and his eyebrows were going up.
Like some
when
kind
your
of voice
eyebrows, when your exactly, good point, Amelia. When your eyebrows are going up, you're trying to emphasize a point.
Right.
It was hard for him to do that because, again, I don't believe he was alone.
No.
I don't believe for 1 minute that man was alone. I think somebody, in fact, you saw him do something
like this.
Not only that, but you saw him do this with, I'm going to show you my hands.
That's right.
With the hands. He did, and he pointed in a particular direction, in this direction. Like somebody was there. Like he wanted you at home to know there's somebody here. In the manner of just kind of like waving his hands around, but he only one hand was moving, which means you have to understand body language, which means he's saying to you, I got company, folks. I got company over here.
Help.
And then what also got me
he was past help.
And what he said too was a main point that he doesn't get out much. If he was to stay home, he'd rather stay home than go anywhere.
Well,
make that a point.
Let's talk about, because I was going to bring that up. He said he's not under, because somebody in his chat asked him, "Are you under house arrest?"
Correct.
And he said, "No, not even a little bit." I believe absolutely he was lying through his teeth, because if you want to consider being held against your will in your apartment, okay, then I guess you're okay with that. But I would call that house arrest.
Yes.
I would say if you're being held against your will, that's house arrest. You can't leave. He said, I can't leave for lots of reasons. Yeah, you know why? Because there's somebody that's going to kill him if he tries to. But guess what? They end up killing him anyway. Isaac Kappy left his apartment that day wrapped up in a rug. That's what you don't know. That's in the police report. That was not made public. Okay? I know because I have a copy of the police report. Okay. We do our research on this show. He was killed in his apartment. He left his apartment in a rug. He was covered in a rug. And his body was thrown over an overpass. It was done at a particular time when no one was using that bridge. When is traffic the lightest?
Around 2:00 in the morning or so.
Late at night. Absolutely, Neil. Late at night. People don't pick 2:00 in the morning to kill themselves. You know why?
No, they don't.
I'm going to tell you why.
Too tired?
No, because most people don't want to kill themselves. They do it during the daylight when people will stop them.
Yeah, they'll have people come in and say, "Don't do that. Stop.
Don't do that. Stop. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that. Come here. Let me help you."
Yeah.
That's why people don't kill themselves at 2 a.m. The suicide prevention line, by the way, the number is 988. 988. If you need help, if you need to talk to somebody, there is somebody 24/7, 365 days a year. 988. That's the number. We've said it on this show literally hundreds of times.
Absolutely.
We've done shows dedicated to this, Amelia and I.
Yes, we have.
988 is the suicide prevention hotline. It is a national number anywhere in the United States, Alaska, Hawaii, or Canada. I will tell you that the lightest time for the suicide hotline is late at night. It's the busiest in the day.
Yes.
Because people really don't want they don't want you, they want you to go, stop, don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't really want to kill themselves. No, but who wants to really kill themselves?
No.
What is that bad that you have to kill yourself? Isaac Kappy, as bad as he thought it might have been for him, he wasn't saying those words because he wanted to. He had to. He was being forced to say things. If you listen to the other videos, he talks about apologizing to people that he screwed over because he took the money. He kept saying, "I'm sorry, I took the money. I took the money." What money?
Right.
What money? Didn't do him any good anyway. He ended up dead. You know? This is the kind of what we're talking about here, folks.
Yeah.
Now, listen, tomorrow night, we have an interesting show tomorrow night. We are going to talk tomorrow night about the long sought after answer to why was the St. Louis Arch built? I think that's our show tomorrow night, right?
Yes, it is. That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Why was the arch? So let me get it right. They call it the St. Louis Gateway. I want to make sure I say that right because it's important.
Mm-hmm.
The St. Louis Gateway Arch. Why did they call it the Gateway Arch at a time when no one knew what a gateway was?
Exactly.
Okay.
Portals.
Say again, Cal?
Portals.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part of why it was built. And you're going to understand why it was built, where it was built, and the reason for it. And it's got racism written all the fuck over it. That's tomorrow night on the show. Next week, let me see what I got for you next week. Oh, next week we got going. We have, we're actually going to do next week. We're going to do a show that Cal and I were supposed to do, but we got a technical glitch that night. We're going to do government psyops. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Government psyops. And then we're doing, I don't know if you've ever heard of this, Amelia. We're doing the Illuminati card game. Now, I'm going to go back to Cal here, and I want to bring Cal up. Cal, tell everybody what the Illuminati card game is.
Okay, Illuminati the card game is a card game that was released in 1994 that depicted the NSA surveillance. It depicted 9/11, the Twin Towers being hit, the Pentagon.
Wow.
Yeah, a card game from 1994. Like it
He's
even
not
shows
lying.
there's this one card that gets me the most, and it says "Enough is enough." And on the card, it's the face of Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And doesn't he say that a lot now? Is enough is enough?
yeah.
Well,
Hmm.
let me explain something to everybody. And I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but I don't really give a shit. Because I have to speak the truth, and the truth will set you free one way or the other. Ruffian says, "Oh, I love that card game. I've been trying to find it for you. We will get you, Ruff. I will promise you this. I promise you on behalf of Cal, because he's going to find it, and he's going to make sure that you get a copy of it. Ruffian's one of our guys, okay? Find it, whatever you got to do, we'll get it to Ruffian, all right, Cal?
All right.
Good stuff. The other thing, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to say something, I'm going to get in trouble for this. Probably get in trouble for why not? I get in trouble for anything. No U.S. president has ever been elected. Presidents of the United States are chosen. They are chosen at the Bohemian Grove largely and by and large historically. Case in point, there is a 1965 picture of Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, Richard Nixon, all at the same table choosing the next president. Barack Obama was chosen at Bohemian Grove. And we're going to do that show again because we haven't even scratched the surface of that.
That's going to be like 2 or 3 episodes.
Say again?
We
It's
made
going to
it
be like
into
2 or 3
episodes.
segments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, wait a minute. We how many did we do already?
Like 4 or 5 at
like
least.
4 or 5 at least on the Grove.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 8 more segments. Okay.
At least that many. At least that many.
And he showed a video that was just very terrifying. Oh my goodness.
We're actually going to do a show. Again, this is going to get us in trouble too. I'm bringing a guy on the show. You may have heard of him. You may have even seen him. In fact, let me put myself up in the big screen. Here we go. His name is Dr. Stephen Greer. Do you guys know who Dr. Stephen Greer is?
I've heard the name Stephen Greer.
Dr. Stephen Greer is a former emergency room medical doctor who has now formed a company called the Disclosure Project. He did a film called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where he talks about contact with extraterrestrial and how they are here among us now and have been for many, many decades. I believe that. I ascribe to his theory. But Dr. Greer has ruffled a few feathers lately by speaking truth that some people don't want him to speak. And I am going to bring him on here when I finally get him to say yes. And I've been in contact, so there's a communication there, thankfully. I just got to get him to say yes.
Please say yes if you're watching.
Right? Yeah. I'll get Amelia on the job. You know what, Amelia? After the show, we'll talk.
Okay.
So, and that we're going to do that. We're going to do that show. It's because it's important. It's important. Disclosure. How close are we to full disclosure? And is an alien attack imminent? Well, Dr. Greer says the United States government is going to fake an alien attack. Why? As to better control you, my dear children, because when the country is under attack, who do you look for help? Your government, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Not I.
But they're from the government and they're here to help.
Yeah, we're with the government. We're here to help. Yeah, bullshit you are. That's like our friend Stephen Plim calls. He says, "Hi, this is Stephen M. Plim. I'm from the Internal Revenue, and I'm here to help." Sure you are, you pain in the ass, lying son of a bitch. Anyway, listen, on behalf of Amelia, the Pitbull Chapman, on behalf of Big Cal Yater, I am the Mad Dog. We will see you, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. We'll see you tomorrow night with Tales from the St. Louis Arch. What is it and why was it built? Take care.